This is my great privilege to welcome you to this briefing about the AMALI program. My name is Edgar Pieterse. I'm the Director of the African Centre for Cities at the University of Cape Town. And I'm delighted to welcome you to a discussion about what we've built here and what we've done this week. The AMALI initiative was started because we believe that it is really important to support African mayors. And the reason for this is that Africa, of course, is filled with promise, and this is the century in which the continent will transform. That transformation will emerge from and will be led by Africa's cities. And so, by definition, it is important that we strengthen the leaders of these cities, and that is what AMALI is designed to do. So it is my great pleasure to announce that we've been able to form a very strong partnership. AMALI was conceived between the African Centre for Cities at the University of Cape Town and Big Win Philanthropy. And we are absolutely delighted to also announce today that Bloomberg Philanthropies have come in to join the collaboration. And the context of why we are here today is that we've just concluded the inaugural Leadership Forum for the AMALI program. And what does this involve? It involves 4 days of immersive work where we have leaders from 15 cities in 8 African countries spending time together with each other and with an esteemed group of mentors and advisors. But it's not just a forum that AMALI is about. There's also a year-long support program that takes the form of monthly check-ins, that takes the form of one-on-one interaction with mentors and advisors, but also if they have specific requirements for technical support, they can ask for that, and that will be provided through this partnership. So as I've mentioned, we've had 15 mayors here for the week, and we've also had a group of esteemed African leaders who've got the experience of public office, spending all of that time with them to provide one-on-one support and to facilitate their learning. The program itself was very much applied. It was action-oriented, and the interest was not to impart academic or theoretical concepts, but was to focus on their context, their experiences, and how do we get them to understand what the opportunity might be to transform their cities and improve the lives of their communities and their people. And so this is what we've structured, and now the real work begins. So today it is an enormous pleasure to welcome the co-architects of AMALI. In the first instance, we have Jamie Cooper, who is the co-chair of AMALI and founder and president of Big Win Philanthropies. We also have James Anderson, who is the head of the Government Innovation Program at Bloomberg Philanthropies. And finally, we have one of the stalwarts of the AMALI, of the Big Win Foundation, but also of AMALI, Madame Luísa Diogo, who is the former Prime Minister of Mozambique, but was also the Minister of Planning and Finance of the same country. Now, I'm going to pose a few questions to them to help us get a sense of what the week was all about and what comes next. So, Jamie, allow me to start with you. I know we have just emerged from these 4 days. It has been very intense, but I'm curious what your reflections are, what has transpired over the days.
Sure. My first reflection is that this program comes at exactly the right time. All the evidence is showing that the combination in Africa of a youthful population and the transition of demographics across Africa and the need to invest in people at this time, combined with the fact that they are overwhelmingly moving to cities, and cities will be the heartbeat of the respective countries and continent. And on top of that, more and more evidence showing that around the world, where cities go is where countries go, is where continents go. That this is the moment that Africa needs to be investing in its cities and the people who live there. So I feel very happy that we've come in on the ground floor. The second thing is, we've had a really exciting 4 days. We have really good mayors on this continent, is one of my reflections. They are visionary. They are deeply committed to their people, their populations. They are patriotic. These are people who, given the chance, will get big things done, things that will change the livability of their cities, will change directly the lives of their people, will change the data and the professionalism of their cities. These are really people who are determined to get things done and will get them done. And then finally, we were very, very lucky to be graced with President Adesina's presence at this event. He was our keynote speaker early in the program. I think what that symbolizes, to say that he had the time to say, yes, cities are important, and he made that message clear throughout with a real commitment to helping bridge. We don't have a federal road running through a city that mayors are empowered and have the resources and the support at all levels of government to be able to make these investments to bring cities to where we all want them to be. It was a really exciting 4 days, and I'm really honored to have worked with my colleagues on this.
Thank you, Jamie. And James, it's really exciting to welcome you here to join us, and the fact that Bloomberg Philanthropies have come on board to support this initiative. Maybe you could share a little bit about what you and your team will do with some of these cities to support them over the course of the next year.
Sure. It's so nice to be here, and it's so nice to be a part of the partnership. What you guys have built, it was extraordinary to see it take off, and we are delighted to be partners and to support you as you go on this journey. I work at the Bloomberg Foundation, and Michael Bloomberg and the Bloomberg Foundation are very focused on a couple of key things. Number one, that local governments are essential to catalyzing the kinds of solutions and innovation necessary for us to achieve progress, move the human species forward, and address major societal, environmental challenges. Number two, local governments, no matter where you are in the world, are under-equipped, undervalued, and we believe totally underestimated. And number three, that philanthropy can partner with incredible local actors to uplift local leaders, to provide supports and leadership development to mayors, and make a difference. And we are really excited to do that here. In specific, we will be bringing to the AMALI program a data program that we'll actually be building at the African Center for Cities, focused on helping the mayors as they strive towards their ambitious goals to leverage all the data that is available in their communities, in their local governments, to bring it together, to make it speak with one another, to use it to understand the problems in new ways, to find insights on ways to get more traction, to use it in their engagements and conversations with residents to build support, and then to hold themselves and their administrations accountable for progress. This is something that Bloomberg Philanthropies is fortunate to help mayors with all over the world, and we're really excited to be working with you, Edgar, at the university to do that here in Africa. And lastly, we're just delighted to partner with Big Win, and really excited to be here, so thank you.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it. One of the things that sets the AMALI Leadership Forum apart and the program as a whole is that we've managed to convince a number of deeply experienced and visionary Africans who've held public office to come in and hold the hands of the mayors and work intimately with them to figure out what their transformative goals might be and help them understand what it will take to implement those. Leading that team is Luísa. And since you had quite a lot of time with a number of the mayors over this week, Luísa, in intimate settings, maybe you could share with us what your reflections are, what emerged from those discussions, and what stood out for you this week.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with the way how the mayors embraced this program, this initiative. And we can analyze that in 3 dimensions. The first dimension is the commitment to the meeting itself, the forum itself. It was impressive. They were present all the time, and they were looking forward during the breaks to have the other session. And the process of growing in terms of leadership, understanding concepts and how to do the leadership in a way to have results, we could see during these days how they grew in this process. So it shows that this program came at the right time. It's like it was missing in our process of organizing the development of our countries. An initiative that will be really for the ones that are working on the ground in the cities, dealing with the people and the communities, and the ones that will change, influence the change of the situation of the people. The second dimension is about the forum itself, the content. The issue of adaptive leadership is an issue that's very complex because you have to be prepared to change and to help the others changing with you. So we could see from these mayors this willingness of really making a difference in the place of working, in the cities. And the idea of getting from the forum the maximum that they could get in order to implement in the cities. So I was impressed because normally in forums like this, you'll see people just pretending to be in the forum. But in this forum, it was impressive, the commitment they had. The third analysis on the way how they perform the forum is about the results. So at the end of the forum, we could see them articulate, first of all, showing the vision. Second, articulating about the goals. And third, saying how they will work in order to get the goals that they define it. So AMALI, it's not a prescriptive initiative. It's an initiative that gives tools to the leaders so they could use those tools in order to accelerate their programs. So I would call that AMALI is a catalyzer of leadership. It helps someone to exercise leadership in a competent and capable manner. And I think this initiative called AMALI is the one really that helped these mayors to be different mayors for the good, growing in their capacity of leadership. And I believe that it will help them to go to the second stage of working as a leader.
Thank you so much, Luísa. So, Jamie, we of course ended today on a celebratory note where we celebrated the achievement of the mayors, where they were able to get to at the end of 4 days. But of course, now the real work starts, and maybe you can share with us what they can expect and what will be happening to support them in the implementation of their legacy plans.
Sure. I just want to stress how ambitious and big the visions that people articulated through this program. I mean, we are talking about people going home committed to creating tens, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs, to getting every child in very, very poor communities to finish primary school, to being the best place on the continent to raise children, and doing a massive early childhood development program and feeding of 1 million plus children in a very definitive time period. So these are really big ambitions, and to send one person home to do this is certainly something that we don't want to do. We don't want to just leave them out there, although they obviously have all their teams in country. So in many cases, Bloomberg has programs that they will be able to be part of a network, be part of a support. We each have families. ACC runs several programs and has teams of people who have worked on issues like the ones that mayors are leaving with. The 3 that I described to you are areas that Big Win has a family ready to engage and help those mayors actualize their programs. Will also, as a cohort, they really bonded, be having monthly meetings where they can talk really freely and really share where am I stuck, that we can all come together. Having people who have walked in their shoes like Luísa has, and we had almost as many of those people who have themselves seen transformations through, who know who's doing the best work around the world in those areas. So, we will, it doesn't end when they walk out the door. We will continue to keep them connected to people who both have the technical expertise and can help them break through on all the things that pop up along the way and prevent you from getting to the end. But again, I want to say that I walked away really impressed. These are people who really, really care about their people and the future of their countries and this continent. And I expect they are going to do great things.
Thanks, Jamie. So at the African Centre for Cities, of course, we've been working the last 15 years to build an empirical understanding of urbanization dynamics and trends on the continent. And within that time, what became clear to us was just the lack of understanding from national leaders, international actors, and so forth about why this issue matters and why it's central to Africa's transformation. So I'm immensely grateful that we've been able to build this partnership together to do something bespoke that can attend to the specific challenges of African city leaders and who are very clearly committed for the long haul, who's going to stick this out with us and not treating this as a philanthropic fashion, but as something that has to be transformed at a systems level so that the continent can come into its full potential. So thank you very much, all three of you. Deeply appreciated. Thanks. Well, thank you so much, dear mayors, for being part of this conversation. You're, of course, part of the inaugural AMALI class for 2023. And we've just concluded the Leadership Forum, which is the beginning of our journey together. And since you're fresh out of the 4 days of the forum, I thought I wanted to maybe ask you for some of your reflections. So allow me to introduce first the mayor of the city of Quelimane in Mozambique, Manuel de Araújo. And Manuel, if I can ask you, looking back over the week, what are some of your key reflections and takeaways from the week?
Well, I was and I am very impressed with the layout of the course, not only the program, but also like the quality of the mentors and facilitators. I think that one to me was something that really kept my attention. And also the methodology, the way the course was organized. It was not too theoretical, but it was immersed into our day-to-day activities. And we were able of participating by bringing in our experiences, but also the challenges that we do face on, daily. So I thought that those two issues are like the main takeaways. And actually, when I go back to my city, the first thing I will do will be, for example, to implement some of the takeaways from here. And one of them will be to create a delivery unit, a unit that follows and monitor progress, because we need to be very aware of where we are, in which phase of our mandate, and also if we are going to, we need to follow up on the objective that we set up for ourselves. The issue, the way of defining a legacy and how to bring the whole team into the process of implementing the legacy. I think that one was of a paramount importance. And lastly, I think that it was very, very important that during the whole week, we had what I will call formal and informal interactions with the mentors, but also with our colleagues. So I'm living here not feeling that I'm alone, because sometimes the problems are so overwhelming that you think that you are unique. But by being here with other mayors, you realize that, actually there are others who are even worse than me. So it lifts your spirit and inspires you in continuing with the work we are doing.
Thank you, Manuel. That's really powerful and good to hear and understand. And allow me now to introduce our second mayor, the mayor of Lusaka in Zambia, Chilando Chitangala. And Chilando, so we spent a lot of time this week talking about the importance of legacy goals as a way of anchoring your vision for transformation of your city. Do you mind sharing with us what is your legacy goal that you've determined during this week for your city? What do you want to leave behind?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Edgar. And I must say thank you for choosing the city of Lusaka to be part of the first cohort for AMALI. What I should just mention is that coming to AMALI has been informative, educative, and just removing some of us mayors that have been in a comfort zone. So it like gets you out of a comfort zone and starts to make you tick and think again, rethink why you were voted in as mayor. So for me, my legacy goal would be making my city beautiful, and my people must be committed to a smart climate city as promised. Yeah. So during my campaigns, obviously, those are some of the things that I had promised them, that we will make the city beautiful together with the people. But as time was going, you face these challenges here and there. But just coming to take part in the AMALI Leadership Forum made me just realize how much it's so important for a mayor to have this, to have the drive for this legacy goal. So with my legacy goal now here, I've learned that I can't drive my goal alone. I need to involve my residents. They need to have a buy-in. And because most of the things that happen in the city concerns them. So to drive it from A to B, they need to be part of this journey. And also just to get support from all stakeholders, from all directions. I think this has been a very good forum for me to get out of my comfort zone. So I'm very happy that I am part of this cohort. And also, as soon as I get back home, I need to think about what education I've gotten from here, and then also start the implementation. Even if I had started the journey, but I think just coming for the forum has made me get up and just rethink and tell myself, I don't have the time. I need to start now. So the people of Lusaka, we have to now make our city beautiful and also work towards having a climate smart city towards the year 2025. Yeah, so, and also the other thing is, it's been so nice to listen to other African mayors, because this is really tailored the African way, and the solutions are very African. So it means that the problems that my friend is having in the next city, for example, in Ivory Coast, or maybe in Nairobi or in Dar es Salaam, the way my other fellow mayor has sorted out, it's easier for me to replicate that, because we face the same problems. The climate is the same. We all have these climate change issues of flooding, droughts, overheating. So they can teach me how they've done it. And then for me, one of my biggest problems is waste management. So I hear and learn from the cities that are going through the same thing that I'm going through. So it's been good. And the journey has been short. I think 4 days. You know, you think it's long, but it's already 4 days, and you're like, oh, okay. So yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So of course, as you both know, I'm at the university, and so my job is to understand the empirical trends for African cities and so on. But and so it's easy to fall into a pit of depression because the challenges are so overwhelming. Yeah. I must say, spending this week with you on the front lines of transforming these places, it's been an enormous honor. And I'm feeling much better because I now know there's people who are committed to transform these contexts. and who have the courage to do the hard and the difficult work to transform very difficult contexts. So thank you so much for being here, for your contribution to the program, and we're really looking forward for everything else you're going to teach us who are on the other side of this partnership. But thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah.